Hello and welcome to a new episode of Crazy Buildings. Today we will look at some of the greatest successes as well as some of the worst failures in real estate development. This is going to be interesting. Join me. So for today's categories, we want to look at the worst and best shopping mall, the best and worst office, as well as the best and worst in city and district development. And we'll start with a real funny one. It's a shopping mall that to me is the worst that I've seen in China over the past 22 years. It's in a strange location, it has a weird design, and it's so extremely unfit for the purpose that it was originally designed for that it is somewhat tragically funny. When you see it, you will know what I mean. So here we are at the Guomao Tiandicheng, which translates to something like Global International Trading Hub. The English name they gave it is SHDFGM. And it's a massive development, 140,000 square meters, about 1.4 million square feet. But unfortunately, it's sitting mainly vacant. And that's of course a great pity, but on the other hand, also not surprising because there's no connectivity to public transportation. The design is not really a retail design. You are lacking entrances, you are lacking atriums, podiums, you are lacking escalators, elevators. The whole thing is just not really designed for the purpose it was meant for. And now it is used as a parking lot, is a place where second-hand used cars, old cars are traded, buses are parked. It's quite the opposite of the initial intended purpose, which was selling luxury cars and luxury jewelry, diamonds, etc. And well, now we have to hope that someone comes around with a new concept that can redesign that, redevelop that, and relaunch it and turn this one day into a success. Going from the worst of my list straight to the best of my list, we're now driving towards the Global Harbor Mall. It is one of the largest and best frequented malls in Shanghai with a great concept, with a wonderful tenant mix, and in a moment you will see what makes this mall so successful. And we have arrived at the Global Harbor Mall, a massive development with over 1,000 retailers situated in this mall. Those retail brands are sorted according to themes. However, food and beverage, restaurants, coffee shops, ice cream shops, etc., they are sprinkled all around. So when in between shopping you want to grab a quick bite, you can get that at any time. Then the mall offers a lot of entertainment. There are theater plays, art exhibitions, dance shows, fashion shows. So people like to spend time in this mall, but of course also to do shopping. It's easy to enter. There are areas to rest. There's a rooftop terrace available. There are 3 metro lines with a direct access to this mall. There's parking available for over 2,200 cars. So this is a wonderful success. Of course, there's way more to learn from the winners than from the losers when it comes to these real estate developments. However, sometimes the losers are more fun. So now we're going straight from worst and best shopping mall to worst and best office development. So here we are at the Huaning Arc building, and while the building actually looks great from the outside and also is situated in a great location, what gives it a 1-star rating is the fact that the ceiling height is so just about 2.45 meters, just about 8.2 feet, so way too low for an office development where you have larger spaces, so it becomes very dark, very depressing. Also, way too few elevators, way too few parking lots. And the story behind it is simple. It was the residential developer that wanted to do an office project. They know well how to do residential. They did not know well how to do commercial, how to do office. So now these units are very hard to let on the market. Very few companies here, those which are here, they're often not really offices, but they're more like photo studios, massage shops, and things like that. It's a strata title building, so the management is a little bit chaotic. So this is my worst office building. We are on our way to the best office, which to me is the HKI or Talgopui, and it's the office building right next to the world's largest Starbucks Reserve Roastery. What makes it the winner? Well, many reasons. You'll see in a moment what they are. This is a fantastic building with a design that's amazing, that doesn't just look great, but that also works great. We have 48 high-speed elevators. A building which has LEED Platinum award for both construction as well as for its operation, so it's kind of environmentally friendly. And then it has this lounge area here available for the tenants with additional meeting rooms, conference rooms, coffee area for the users of this space. And that's great because it shows that the operator understands that in the property industry, we are ultimately in the service industry. Maybe with an office building a little less than with a hotel, but finally, of course, we're all here to serve the tenant. Now, in terms of city planning and district development, we also have a best and a worst. Let's start with the worst. Somehow about 10 to 15 years ago, the area behind the Changfeng Park in Putuo district was supposed to get redeveloped, and the decision was made to turn it into an office area. Maybe because offices tend to house a lot of companies and companies tend to pay a lot of taxes. But since the area wasn't developed in an organic way, since it was office next to office next to office, it proved incredibly difficult to get any company to move into those office buildings. And let's go now and have a look how the area looks today. So here we are now in this Changfeng Park office cluster area, and you can immediately feel how close these offices are next to each other, how dark it is therefore, and that it is a monoculture. Of course, now it's much better than 10 years ago because some of the office buildings got redeveloped, got converted into hotels. And then we have some shopping added, we have a bit of public transportation available now. So it's much better than before, but you can still sense a bit the lack of the mix, the lack of residential, the lack of restaurants, the lack of shopping, the lack of doctor offices, recreational facilities, schools, kindergarten, all those things which are needed for a well-balanced community. And that makes it that the office rents in this area are still incredibly low, even though we're actually located not too far from downtown. Our final destination is an interesting one, and even though it's located in the very south of Shanghai, it offers way more than many other areas, access to all kinds of recreation, entertainment and lifestyle, and not to mention great infrastructure. It also offers access to a Legoland and to a beach. So we are now driving to Shanghai's Jinshan area and there to the so-called Shanghai Bay Area high-tech zone. Now look around here. We're in the middle of an industrial zone, just 5 minutes away from huge manufacturing plants, and yet we have a very livable environment. Behind me is a little park. Then we have on the other side of the street a jogging and cycling track. We have schools, hospitals, restaurants, hotels, a government service center, residential compounds, a stadium, and then not least industrial land plots, as well as factory buildings where companies have a great environment for the production activities. So let's go and have a look at some of those. For so many companies, Shanghai is still the top choice because of great availability of talent, because of a stable administration, and because of an almost perfect infrastructure. Companies like SG Johnson, Baxter, Siemens, Hyundai Elevators, and many others more are located here because if you are a service or trading company, maybe you want to have your office very much in the center of downtown. But if you are doing production, if you're doing assembly, well, then being here about 45 minutes south of the Hongqiao airport may be a perfect choice. And if during the weekend you want to spend a day at the beach, you're also already in the right district for it. And with that, it's time for today's edition of True Story. And the true story is one that happened twice recently in very similar fashion. Once with an American company and once with a European company. Both of the companies had manufacturing sites in Shanghai and they wanted to grow. So we looked naturally around Shanghai because that's where it's easy to get real estate, easy to get electricity and so on. And we found great sites. We wanted to do the project, but the headquarters of both companies said, no, now is not the time to grow. Now it's not the time to expand. Now it's not the time to do CapEx. Let's stop these projects. So we had to stop them both. But then we managed to relaunch them. We said, okay, let's do a cost-saving project. Let's say in order to adapt to this very difficult environment right now, let's save costs, let's move to a cheaper location. And then at the same time, well, this cheaper location also turns out to be a little bit larger, a little bit newer. So for the teams here on the ground in Shanghai, it was pretty much the same project as initially planned, but for the headquarters, it was a different story. So everybody was happy in the end. It worked out very nicely for both companies. Thanks for watching, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or needs related to industrial or commercial real estate. NAR Global has 325 local offices across 65 countries, all here to support you. And of course, please do like and subscribe so that you will not miss the next episode of Crazy Buildings.